Hi, Julie. As mentioned on your post, I'll try to give you a few tricks to try and make your Photoshop a little faster. I've had the same issues. It was driving me totally bonkers. And after doing some research, these are the things that I found um, were making a huge improvement. Um, I have to do it at the same time because Adobe Photoshop, Lightroom, and Bridge had an update this morning. So I'm going to have to redo it anyway. So it's the perfect time to show you how slow mine can also be and the difference when you fix these things, what it does after. So these are the specs of my computer. Um, Mine is 16 gig, but I have about the same processor as you have. Looking back, I knew nothing about Macs when I bought mine. Now I know a lot more. I would never go back to just 16 gig. I would try and go a little higher, but 16 gig is the better. It's better than 8. So if you have an older one, older than 2015, you can probably add some memory in your iMac because the newer versions does not allow you to open the back doors of your Mac and add some more memory yourself in it, which sucks because now it's a big money grubbing and it's very frustrating. But if you do have doors at the back of your Mac and you can add some memory, that would be a great thing for you to add little brackets to bring it up to 16 or 18 if whatever works better for you. Okay, so I'll close this. The first thing to do, we'll just go and open Photoshop. So mine can take anywhere sometimes from 30 seconds to almost 2 minutes, depending on how the day goes. Right now, it will be a little slow because there's an update. But you see, I don't know if you see this sometimes on yours when it opens. Adding extension, holiday bottlenecks. Mine will always get stuck on this one. If yours also gets stuck on this one, that is a reason why your Photoshop will take forever to open. So we will go and fix that and update the preferences. We'll create a new workspace. If you have Photoshop CC Dimension installed on your computer, it's a good idea to remove it because it just takes rooms for nothing. And I'm not too sure, I didn't find what the link was with Photoshop, but it just creates some sort of a lag as well. So now it's slowly opening. As you can see, it's a frustrating thing to have to wait that long when you want to work. I mean, it just kills me every time. So now what we will do, because Photoshop is open right now, we will go and update our preferences. So we'll go to preferences, um, auto update document. We'll go through each of them because there's a few things in each of them that needs to be closed or updated. Okay, so in the general one, auto update documents, this is good to have uh, just to make sure your documents are always updated. If you have the export clipboard, uncheck it because what it does every time you save something, it exports your clipboard and then it just keeps it in memory and uses a lot of space. You do not need this. So if you want your Photoshop to be faster, uncheck that check mark. It will save you a lot of time. Here Usually there's not too much. These are just your personal preferences of the interface, how you want it to look. In your workspace, also, you have those are mostly your personal preferences. Those are mine. I like it like that. You don't really need the large tabs because those also take more memories. If you like the large tabs, you can leave it there. It does not um, use too much memory processing power. So this one is optional, but it's all up to you for this one. Tools. Um, Here you can just choose the ones you feel that you're gonna use the most. Show tool tips. This is when you um, go on top of your icons and it gives you the little floating box that tells you what every little icon is. It uses memory to keep it in the system to always show you, and it's very annoying, so you can take it off. Um, the rest, it's all your personal preferences as well, but this one is one that will use unnecessary power, so you can remove that one. Under file handling, again, there's not too much. Just make sure that you have your recovery saved the lowest time as possible so that you don't lose too much stuff if anything happens. And in your recent file list, do not keep it too high. Otherwise, if you have like 20 files, every time you go into your file and it shows you all your 20 or 30 latest documents you're working on, it just uses some space. It's not that much, but again, it's a little thing that will gives it a little more power. Your export, this one is fine. Performance. Okay, so here, just make sure, depending on your machine, you know how best it works. Um, just you'll have to play with this one to see how your Photoshop will handle the memory usage the best. And in your graphic processor settings, go to advanced settings, use OpenCL. Sometimes it makes a big difference. And when your Photoshop does not cooperate, you can go back to normal or basic setting. Um, it will help depending on the type of retouching or how much you tax your Photoshop. Me, I need the advanced one because of the type of retouching I have to do. But 15. Most of the time, normal and basic will give you all of the flexibility you have and will not tax your processor as much. So you can fix it there as well, give it a little more flexibility. Your history state, you do not have to have it excessively high, although it's handy. It's up to you, but if you have it like a 1000 history to be able to go back, maybe dial it down a little bit. Your cache level, keep it as high as possible. This way it also helps your Photoshop to process faster. So the more area it has to, the more cache your Photoshop has, the more processing power it will, the more speed it will have. Here in Scratch Disk, I need to go buy another one because the one I had just is full. I had to use it as an archive backup. But if you have an external drive that is not used, if it has even just 500 gigs, that can be used solely as a scratch disk to add processing power to Photoshop, you can install it here. And then you just tick the box to tell Photoshop to use this. What it means is every time Photoshop works and it needs more space to work, it will go on your external scratch disk and use the capacity in it, the gig capacity, to give it some juice to work faster. So that's another way you can have to add power if you're not able to add extra RAM in your Mac itself. Go and get yourself a scratch disk and connect it to your computer. Cursor here, there's not much thing that will help. I just want to make sure all my other options were not changed by the recent update. Everything looks fine, but those were pretty much the main preference update that will help you gain efficiencies within the program itself. Another thing before we close it to go fix the Halliday bottleneck issue is, now that you have your new preferences, create a new workspace, because sometimes the workspace we work in gets corrupted, so and it causes issues and problems, and that's where we get the beach ball cursor that just lags and lags and lags. So you go here to your little icon right there, and you create a new workspace. You call it whatever you want to call it. Make sure to check all of these little boxes to keep your shortcuts, your menus in Toolball, and then you save. I'm just going to cancel it, and then you'll have, well, might as well do one and sort. Okay, so new workspace. I'll call this one Diad new. So this one is my updated one as of this morning, and now the other ones that I had, I can go and delete them. Delete workspace. So this one was the older one that I don't need, and this is the one I was using before I did the update this morning. So this way I'm just gonna keep it there for now. Now everything should be running good. We'll close Photoshop, and now we will go in the Finder, and we will go into our library, applications, and we will find the Photoshop CC 2018, and on the Photoshop icon here, you'll do a right click and you'll select Show Package Contents. And now I always forget under which one it is, so I have to find it. Plugins. There we go. So once we've right-clicked on we'll go back, Applications, Photoshop 2018. We have the icon for the Photoshop, right-click, Show Package Contents. We open the contents. We go to Required, and then we go to Plugins, and we go to Extensions. So I already had one for the previous update. Now it's not working, so I will delete it. it asks you for your password because you go into the content of the program itself. So now you have the Halliday bottleneck plugin here, and that's the one that causes issue. So the only thing you need to add in front of it is that little squiggly thing. I don't know what it's called. So we'll need to rename it and just add this little squiggly thing. Add your password to accept the change. Halliday, it's been accepted. We have the little squiggly. And now we can close this. And now if we reopen Photoshop, it should not take 3 minutes to open, or as long as it did the last time. See, now we don't have the Halliday bottleneck, and there we go. It took about 15 seconds, which the last time it took me almost a minute when we started this video. Now it's open, everything, the icons came on very quickly, so that was much faster. And for the Adobe Dimension, if you would have it, it would probably be, I don't remember where I had find mine, but maybe in your applications or somewhere in your Photoshop package, you would find it. So I would have to do another research to find where I had found it before. But just those fixes should be able, should allow you to gain a little more speed in your Photoshop. And the only place where you might need to play a little more will be in your performance, kind of to test where you should have the sweet spot for your memory usage, to see where Photoshop and your computer play nice together, and then play with your here normal, basic, or advanced setting to see where it's easier for your system to function, and get a scratch disk to have as sole purpose to give extra juice to your Photoshop. But all of these little things should allow you to at least fix some of your issues. And every time there's an update to Photoshop, you will need to fix the Halliday bottleneck and to create an updated workspace and check your preferences, because updates will sometimes go and skew a few things. It's a pain in the neck. However, it'll always make sure that your Photoshop will run smoothly after, until you can get more gig inside your machine. So here we go. I hope it was helpful, and that it will at least give you some speed and less beach balling with your cursor. Have a great day. Bye.